Today I'm going to be performing a calibration on an I2P transducer. It is a ABB Kent Taylor series T1P1I/P transducer. I'm going to be providing my milliamp signal from my Trex communicator. I have in series with the Trex communicator a Fluke 179 so that I can read my milliamp signal. And the pressure coming out of my transducer I'm going to be reading with a Fluke 719, and it's set to PSI. So my selections on my Trex here, I'm going to pick field communicator. And I'm plugged in up top here to Heart plus power. After I pick field communicator, I'm going to pick Heart. Do you intend to provide power from the Trex unit? Yes. And I'm going to select positioner. Just takes a little time for the Trex to get to the next menu sometimes. All right, now it's going to ask me, do you want to change polling options? I'm going to say no. Increase loop current, I'm going to say yes. It gives a warning that changing the current level can cause the positioner to move the valve. Well, we're not connected to a valve today, so we're not going to be concerned about that. Looking at my I2P transducer again here, what I have wall supplied air with the regulator limiting him to 26 PSI, and I'm coming out supplying that wall air into the input of the I2P transducer. And this one has two outputs. One here I have plugged off, and the other one is going to my Fluke meter. So we're going to say okay, and now we're going to go through our 5 different current amounts, and we're going to verify that we're getting the appropriate amount of PSI to our Fluke 179. I'm sorry, our Fluke 719. And we're going to make sure we're getting the right amount of current out with our Fluke 179. And so just some quick math here. At 4 milliamps, I should get 3. At 8, I should get 6. At 12 milliamps, I should get 9 PSI. At 16 milliamps, I should get 12 PSI. And at 20 milliamps, I should get 15 PSI. Now, we're going to start by doing a zero and span calibration. So if we look here at the details on the transducer, it shows us first the input wiring, which are these 2 red wires here connected to the leads coming from my Trex. You got your positive and your negative side. Then right below that, you have your zero span adjustment, which is this little potentiometer here, this little gray potentiometer. You see that screw on that potentiometer. That's how we're gonna calibrate to our zero, which will be 3 PSI. Then we're going to adjust our span, and our span is going to be 15 PSI. And that's the lower potentiometer there, the little gray box. All right, so looking at our zero right now, we see that when we supply 4 milliamps, we can hit OK, that we're at about 3.159 PSI. And that's not too bad, but I want to go to at least an accuracy of the tenths place. So 3.0, and I'm not going to worry about the 2 numbers after that. So what I'm gonna do here, I get my screwdriver into the slot on this potentiometer. And as I turn the potentiometer here, you can see the PSI changing. So I'm going clockwise and it's getting further out. So I'm gonna go counterclockwise to bring it down. Continuing to turn this screw here on this potentiometer. And all right, I am to 3.042. That's close enough. Now let's do the span calibration. So I'm going to hit previous. I'm going to hit OK. Now I'm going to give it the 20 milliamps. I hit OK. I see that I have 20 milliamps going to the unit. I check that with my Fluke. And if I look at my PSI, I'm at about 14.8. And I want to be at least 15.0 something something. I'm not too worried about the something something, but I want 15.0. So I look here and I see that my bottom potentiometer, what this little menu here is telling me is that my bottom potentiometer is my span, which is the top of my range, 3 to 15 PSI. So this will be for 15 PSI. And I look at the resistor here and I get my screwdriver into the slot on this little screw. All right, now I'm gonna go clockwise because that increases. I'm slowly turning this screw, as you see here. As I turn this screw, it increases this number. All right, so we're at 15.0. Now you have to go back and forth a few times before it's totally calibrated. So let's go back to our 0. So we hit previous, and you heard the little pneumatic relay release some air pressure there. Let's hit OK. All right, now we're at our 4 again. Hit OK. It's applying 4. My Fluke 179 tells me that it's applying right at 4 milliamps. And my pressure now is 3.1. And remember a while ago we had it set to exactly 3.0. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go back to, as my menu tells me here, my top potentiometer, my 0 potentiometer, and I wanna take this guy now, and I'm gonna get my screwdriver in the little slot, and I'm gonna get him to be exactly 3.0. All right, that looks pretty good. Go to exactly, oh, too much, come back a little. All right, 3.0, 1. But as long as I got 10 after the decimal place, I'm good. All right, so I'm gonna hit previous. Hit OK. All right, let's apply our 20 milliamps again for our span calibration. We see that we're supplying right at 20 milliamps. And we're at 14.9. So again, we've got to do a little bit of an adjustment on our lower potentiometer here. I get the screwdriver in the slot, and I'm going to go clockwise a little bit, and I've got him to 15.0 PSI. All right, now I'm going to hit previous, and we go back to our 0 amount. Now it looks pretty good. 3.0 at 4 milliamps. Let's try our 20 milliamps. We'll select 20 milliamps, we select OK, and we're at 15.0. That's good enough. All right, now we're going to walk through our other PSI levels. So I'm gonna hit previous. I'm gonna hit OK. I'm gonna hit 8 milliamps, which should give me about 6 PSI. Oh, dead on. It looks real good, 6.0. All right, let's hit previous. Just gotta give it time to get there. It takes a little time. See, I outrun my menu keys there because I was not moving right. All right, hit OK. Okay, so now we want to do 12. And at 12, I should have about 9 PSI. And that looks real good. All right, let's go previous. Again. We'll hit OK. And we're going to give it 16 milliamps, which should give me about 12 PSI. Very, very good, 12.0. All right, one last time, we're gonna go to our 20 milliamps. And we should get about 15 PSI. Beautiful. And that is how you calibrate an I to P transducer, supplying your 4 to 20 milliamp signal from our Trex unit.